It's been obvious in the last few years, Sony have decided to try and push their releases on PC. You know that their exclusive games are only on PlayStation 5 and they rarely put their games on, say, Xbox and PC, but you've seen in the last few years with, say, like The Last of Us, even Stellar Blade, I know that's a timed exclusive, but Spider-Man 2, they've decided to bring their releases over to PC to try and recuperate even more money. For years, if you've been following me, I've always said that exclusive games and PlayStation having exclusive games on their consoles is only a good thing. Now, I know people have disagreed with me because they've just said, well, it's not a good thing because gamers get the short end of the straw. You know, if you release everything on every console, then everyone is happy. But for me, I totally disagree because how are you going to sell consoles if the main selling point of your console is exclusive single player games? Now, for me, I've owned every PlayStation. I've never owned an Xbox, never owned a PC in terms of gaming because I've been so happy with what I've got on the PlayStation 5. Every console that's come out, I know that I only really play single player games, and we've got some amazing single player games over the generations. Now, I know Sony in the last few years have decided to try and push this live service push, which is definitely backfired because you've had studios close down, you've had studios work on games for years, spend millions of pounds, and then all of a sudden they've realized we don't want to be a live service studio. It's evident from, say, Xbox that even though they're releasing games on PlayStation 5, which is amazing for, say, someone like me, it's not really helping their brand. So if we have a look at this, and then I'll give you my honest thoughts, but Sony quietly decided to scale back PC ports last year. It is going to be no longer a priority. So we're yet to receive an official word from Sony, but by all accounts, it's scaling back its PC publishing strategy. The news comes by way of a flurry of notable leakers, all of whom have been proven to have knowledge of PlayStation's plans in the past. Among them are Bloomberg's notoriously in the known Jason Schreier and the equally reliable Nate the Hate, who has accurately revealed tons of Sony related snippets in the past. So here we go on Twitter. He said you'll be seeing fewer single player games arrive on PC. The decision to shift away from supporting PC was made last year. Naturally, some may release depending on how far the ports were, but it no longer appears to be a priority. And then the comments made by Schreier were noted. I think the sense is I'm getting is that Sony is backing away from putting its exclusive console stuff like traditional single player stuff on PC. Now, Schreier has hinted a follow-up report in due course, so we might actually hear more in the future, which would be good. But for example, PC ports generate around 1.5% of PlayStation's revenue in the 4 years since the strategy got underway in its earnest. A drop in the ocean, really, with much of that driven by the widely successful Helldivers 2. It's worth noting there's no indication the platform holder will stop porting live service games such as Marvel Token, Fighting Souls, or Fallout. Didn't know Fallout was actually a PlayStation exclusive. It's unlikely to change its approach. Externally developed games like Death Stranding 2, Kena, Scars of Cosmora, neither of them are created in-house. But it could mean games like Intergalactic, Marvel's Wolverine remain PS5 exclusive. Do I think live service games from Sony that require an audience to play, I think they should be day one PC, if anything, day one PC and Xbox, only because you are relying on a player base to keep the numbers high, to keep investing in your game and buy microtransactions, because we know how hard the live service game is. We've seen them shut down so many damn studios because of this. So I do think there's an exception with live service games 100% because it's online. They suspect the platform holder may have been frustrated by its inability to capture PC plays within its PSN framework. We saw a lot of pushback, obviously, with like Helldivers 2 when they required a PSN account. They didn't really like that. Some have suggested that Xbox's decision to deliver an open console with access to all storefronts may have played into this, but none of the money would be going to Microsoft, so we're not sure if it's a factor in its thinking. At the end of the day, Sony's only been obligated to support the PS5, and anything outside has always been classed as an experiment. It seems the experiment is now coming to a conclusion. Now, I've been saying for years that 100% exclusive games sell consoles. I don't understand why anyone wouldn't agree with that, because if you're going into, say, the PS6 generation, Sony want you to buy that console. And nowadays, with everything being so damn expensive, what is the reason why you would buy a PlayStation 6? You can't just rely on the people like myself who would just buy one because you've always bought a PlayStation and I'm happy with that. That's the only thing I play. But what about the people that are thinking, you know what, to invest over £700, £800 arguably for the PS6. Why am I going to buy this? Now, say for example, you had a Days Gone 2 exclusive to the PS6. You had a new God of War game. You had a new Spider-Man game. We're getting Marvel's Wolverine on the PlayStation 5. And if that doesn't come to PC, I think for a lot of people who want to play Marvel's Wolverine, they're going to think, I'm going to need a console. It's not coming to PC. I know a lot of people in the community, they have said, you know what, I'm going to wait till PC. Death Stranding 2, I'm going to wait till PC. So when you know it's coming to PC, people will wait and they won't want to buy your console. Now you look at Xbox, and yes, they've released games on the PlayStation 5 with, for someone like me, that's great. Forza Horizon 6, Fable, they look incredible. But with Microsoft, with that damn marketing push that they did with Phil Spencer or supposedly Sarah Bond getting the front of it, and I'm not going to lie, I don't know about you, whenever Sarah Bond opened her mouth, it just seemed so robotic. It seemed so corporate. She never used to answer anything. It never made any sense. And as you can see here, Xbox console sales is the worst on record in 2025. The sales of Xbox consoles were down 39%. Over the last year or so, it's not been particularly positive news to Xbox, with Microsoft continuing to focus its efforts on PC and the ROG Xbox Ally in recent months. That trend has been felt here in the UK, where the Xbox Series X and S are almost down 40% in 2025, and that is the worst year on record for Xbox consoles. That is absolutely crazy. So sales of Xbox consoles were down 39% during 2025, making it the worst. And what's absolutely crazy about this is that Xbox, they just decided, you know what, with that marketing push, everything's an Xbox. Everything's a damn Xbox. But it's like you just shat on the fans that have been investing in your console over the years. It's like they forgot about those. They just thought, well, you know, they've got our consoles. We don't need to worry about them. Let's try and get all the people who have got a phone, everyone who's got a computer. If we can maximize the people who have got a phone, imagine if everyone signs up for Xbox Game Pass. Oh my gosh, we're going to make billions and billions of dollars. But the problem is, it's like that saying, you cater for everyone, you cater for no one. And that is something I live by as well in my own job. You've decided to try and get people who have a phone, who have a laptop, but then you've decided to just shit on the people who have actually spent the money to get your console. And I know a lot of people now who used to have an Xbox and are coming over to PlayStation because they're like, well, if some of the Xbox games now and the exclusive games that were on Xbox are coming to PlayStation 5, there's no reason for me to own an Xbox anymore. What is the point? And I totally agree with that, because you might as well buy a PlayStation 5, and then we're getting games like Forza Horizon 6, Fable. I'm playing Forza Horizon 5. Oh my gosh, what a game. And yet, why would you want to buy an Xbox? It's been evident with that approach, it's not been good, because you're looking at what happened. Even Xbox employees are supposedly relieved that the president of Xbox has left as well, because she was responsible for that marketing push of everything's a damn freaking Xbox. I think everyone just laughed at this so much. Personally, this is what happens when you hire people who don't actually have an interest in gaming, don't understand how to communicate with their fan base. This is what you get when you just get corporate people trying to go into a company looking at people as just a number. Only a month removed from taking over the Xbox marketing, Microsoft delivered a marketing campaign that signaled people didn't need to buy an Xbox console anymore. The message was that you don't need an Xbox to play Xbox, because games were available on Xbox Cloud Gaming, TVs, and everything else as well. Like, here you go. This is a cat box if you didn't know, but this laptop is an Xbox. And at the same time, you look at Xbox and you're thinking, they are going to release a next generation console. What's the point when you've now pushed the fact that everything's an Xbox? So why are players going to want to buy an Xbox if it's going to cost like £1,000 if you're not going to get exclusive games? And that brings me back to Sony. This is why I really do think exclusive games are important to sell consoles. And if everyone has a PC and then PlayStation sell their games on there, people will just wait for PC. I know so many people, I go to CEX and I speak to them and I say, what do you play on? They're like, oh, well, if I'm just playing normally ever on PC. They all said PC, but then they said, if I want to enjoy a single player game, play on my PlayStation. So we all know the reputation from PlayStation. What are PlayStation known for? Releasing amazing single player games. Now, arguably, we haven't got that many in this generation because of that push from the one and only Jim Ryan and Herman Hulst. But it looks like they're going to go back to scaling back on the PC, which most probably will go into the next generation if you're getting these amazing games like Marvel's Wolverine. That could potentially sell consoles. If you had, say, a Days Gone 2, I know I keep saying that, but if you had that for a launch title for flipping the PS6. That is going to sell consoles. So if they're all going to come out on PC, I just think you just lose that interest to a gamer wanting to buy that next generation console, especially if it's going to cost about £1,000 for that console. So I don't know what you think. I think it's only a good thing for the PlayStation brand. Now, don't get me wrong. I know some of you will say, but for gamers, it's not a win. I get what you're saying. I'm just saying from an approach of, say, Sony, I think it's a good thing because it just brings the why back into why are you buying a PlayStation 5? Why are you buying a PlayStation 6? But what do you think about this approach? Do you think this is a good thing for Sony, that they're going to scale back and actually focus on their console? Do you think we need more story-driven games? What do you think about Xbox? Will they change that approach of, you know, everything's an Xbox? Drop your thoughts in the comments and let me know. And I will speak to you soon.